Hi, everybody. My name is Jonah Hardy, and this is my final for Introduction to Teacher Leadership. Uh, I have chosen to focus on the book The Leadership Challenge, the sixth edition by James M. Kouzes and Barry Z. Posner. This book really aligned with my teacher leadership values and what was important to me to have in teacher leadership. I think that there is a lot of great content in here, and I think the five practices of this book can be applied to, well, any sort of leadership situation that you might find yourself in. The first thing that I would like to do is kind of clarify um, what I think a great teacher leader is. So, a great teacher leader is somebody who is forward thinking. They are somebody who is planning and building the culture of the school that they're at. They are the person who you look to for guidance and help. They help build up those around them. It's kind of tough to be the new person at a school. I think that a great teacher leader is somebody who makes that experience not as tough. I think that we need teacher leaders who are compassionate and teacher leaders who are, well, great teachers. They might not be the teacher who teaches the most highest level content at the school, but they are the teacher who understands that we're human beings and that we need help and that we need somebody who believes in us. And to me, that is a great teacher. And I think it's something that is very rare and very special. So the leadership challenge, like I mentioned earlier, deals with five different practices for exemplary leadership. They are model the way, inspire a shared vision, challenge the process, enable others to act, encourage the heart. Those are the five practices that the authors deem as the most important things for a leader to have. Now, the way that this is going to work is we're going to talk briefly about each one of the practices, and then we're going to break down those practices into smaller subcategories. And that's going to be kind of how we're going to look at this book in a briefer, more direct way. And then we're going to apply those and see how they work to teacher leadership. So the first practice is model the way. So model the way, I mean, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's about being the person that you want others to be. As teachers, we are the person that our students look to for guidance. We have to understand that how we act and how we speak and what we do, the students take in. The students are impressionable. They will learn from us. Some students spend more time with us than they do with their parents, um, at least waking moments. So it's kind of insane to think about, but we are the people that they look to for guidance and instruction and leadership. And the way that you model the way is there's two different things you have to do to be able to do that. You have to clarify your values and you have to set the example. Now, what clarify your values means finding your voice. It means understanding what's important to you. We each have things that are important to us, and we each have things that we place at the hierarchy of what's our most important thing. And we need to understand what that important thing is to us. And as teachers, we need to understand what's important to us in our educational communities. For instance, one of my most influential administrators, he used to say that he wasn't training students to be great college students. He didn't care if they went to great schools or anything like that. To him, the most important thing about being an educator was about helping our students become great neighbors, helping our students to become good people, somebody you'd want to live next to. And that idea, it really struck a chord with me. It was so interesting that I had this educational leadership person, this person who was in charge of, well, our entire school, telling me that he didn't care about preparing students for the next step of their college careers. And I just found that so fascinating that to him, the most important thing was about helping our students become good people. And I think that was really awesome. And it's something that I've really grown closer to as an educator. And after finding out your voice and finding out what's important to you, you have to look to others and figure out how your values align. To be able to communicate to somebody else what's important to you and understand what's important to them, it's so crucial for great teacher leaders. The next thing that you have to do as a great teacher leader is you have to set the example. You have to live the values that you talk about. You have to showcase those values. You you can't say one thing and do another thing. You can't continue to do the same thing over and over again and then complain about the same thing over and over again. You have to you have to model the values that you think are important. And part of that is you have to teach those values to other people and why they're important. Sometimes people might have the same values as you, but they don't know how to showcase that. They don't know how to really demonstrate that that their values and what's important. You have to set the example that others can follow and be a guiding figure in the lives of not just your students, but your fellow faculty. The second thing that a great leader needs to do, or the second practice, is you have to inspire a shared vision. Now, notice how this kind of dovetails into the previous practice, right? Enlisting the help of others, envisioning a future. A lot of this is about collaboration and working with other people, which I think is so important for great teacher leaders. So I'm a planner and I love to come up with big ideas. I'm a big idea guy. So envisioning the future is something that really resonates with me. I love thinking about future plans and what we can be doing and how we can be doing more. So part of envisioning the future is imagining the possibilities. You have to think of what is the potential that your school has? What is the potential that these students have? What is the end goal? Because if you're not thinking grand or you're not thinking with big ideas, you're limiting yourself. Yes, it is great to be practical. Yes, it is great to be realistic. But at some point, you need to take your moonshot and you need to really try and think of something grand and grandiose that would be, well, exciting. Because when you do that, you can find things that align with other people and you guys can find, and your team can find a common purpose together. And maybe you can reach those limits. Because when you get the help of others and you list the help of others, those big ideas, they don't seem as crazy. Because when you're thinking of some grand giant idea, it seems impossible to do alone. But when you start thinking about where your strengths are and where your weaknesses are, and you start talking to other people and realizing that their strengths might be your weaknesses, that you can combine to create something truly incredible. And to me, that's something that I get super excited about. Uh, is working with a team for a common goal and really trying to get that vision going. And I think that that's part of being a great leader. The third practice is you have to challenge the process. And what that basically means is don't do things the same way over and over again without looking for better ways to improve or looking for something new. My life motto is don't be stagnant. Always be growing, always be learning. What that basically means is don't get stuck. Like you cannot stay stuck and think that you've reached the peak of where you're going to be. Because when you think that you've reached your peak, you're going to stop working, you're going to stop putting in more work, you're going to stop trying new things, you're going to stop experimenting, you're going to really limit yourself and limit your ability to grow. So part of searching for opportunities is you have to seize the initiative and find those opportunities. You have to be think outside the box and you have to really imagine what could happen and you have to recognize an opportunity for what it is. You need to be like this little fish. You need to sometimes jump out of your small pond of being comforted and your small pond of where you feel like you are the top dog to maybe trying something new and looking for more opportunities. Because when you're looking for these opportunities and you're really, I don't know, trying to challenge yourself, you're going to help yourself grow a lot more than if you just stay stuck in that same mindset. And part of looking for those opportunities is you're going to have to take risk. A lot of people don't like to take risk. A lot of people like to stay in what's their comfort spot, stay in their small places and realize, nope, this is what I know, this is what I'm going to keep doing, this is what I want to continue to do. And when you do that, you're really just preventing yourself from growing. Now, a way to do that is to first, maybe if that's something that scares you, first start by making some small wins. Set some small goals for yourself, some attainable goals. Get that momentum going. Get your team's momentum going. And then you can start to tackle those bigger goals. I mean, as educators, we are great at chunking our content, right? I mean, we're going to take an entire textbook and look at this entire textbook, and then we're going to break it down into simpler ideas. Do the same thing with your goals. Start with that big goal and think of those little itty bitty steps that you can take to really reach that big goal, but by those small little wins building up. And finally, you have to learn from the experiments and learn from the risks because everything that you try is not always going to succeed. You're going to fail. This is life. This is not some fairy tale. We are not going to constantly succeed every single time we try something new. You have to be comfortable with that failure and you have to be comfortable with the growth that comes from that failure. The fourth practice of the leadership challenge is enabling others to act. And this is something that is so important to teacher leadership. I mean, enabling others to act. Isn't that isn't that the core of what being a teacher is? Fostering collaboration, strengthening others. I mean, to me, that is one of the most important things about being a teacher. Because we have to realize that we are impacting our students' lives in ways that we don't even imagine or ways we can't even think. Um, I think back fondly to a student of mine who came to me years later. They actually, I stopped teaching them. They had graduated. They came back and visited the school, and they stopped by my classroom. And he just said hi and just wanted to say hi, and he handed me a letter. And in that letter, it was a page long handwritten note about the impact that I had on them and how I really helped pull them out of some tough times and how they were really going through some negative emotions and negative thoughts about themselves. And they mentioned that they don't think I would be here, they would be here right now if it wasn't for me, because my class was an opportunity for them to be excited each and every day. And I think that part of part of that was my mindset of enabling other people to pursue their dream, pushing other people to do new things and try new things, and really trying to build up the people around me. So the way that you foster collaboration is you have to create a climate of trust. You have to make sure that people understand that they can trust you and that you're going to be the person that you say you are. This goes all the way back to clarifying your values and modeling the way. Students' lives are filled with uncertainty. I mean, especially nowadays as a teenager, where your entire life is put on blast in social media, you can't get away from constant judgment or comparison to other people. Right now, kids need to know that you're somebody that they can trust, somebody that they can lean on, somebody that they can talk to. And when you build that trust, you build that relationship, you really open the door to being able to share those big ideas, to be more creative with the people around you. And just like our students need to know that we trust them, the fellow teachers around us need to know that they can trust us as well. And that's how we can foster that collaboration and really grow together. And then the final thing for enabling others is you have to strengthen others, right? You have to enhance the self-determination, develop confidence and competence. You have to get people excited about themselves. You have to help them realize that they're stronger than they think they are. A quote that really sticks with me is, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. Isn't that awesome? So many times we're afraid of failure because we're afraid of how it's going to make us look. We're afraid of being made fun of. We're afraid of trying because if we try and fail, then we're not good enough. But if we never try, then we can always say like, "Oh, I could have done that. I could have done that." So we need to get again. We This goes back to dealing and getting comfortable with failure. We have to get our students comfortable with failure so that they can grow. The strongest people make time to help others, even if they're struggling with their own personal problems. Let's just be good people. Let's help the people around us. Let's elevate them. Let's grow. Let's develop these skills together. And I think that that is part of what makes a great a great teacher, and then also what makes a great teacher as well. Sorry, a great. So the final thing, or the final practice, is about encouraging the heart. I mean, come on, as teachers, what more can we do than really encourage our students on an emotional level to really reach their pinnacle of what they can do? And the way the authors say to mention this is by recognizing contributions, celebrate the values and the victory. So, a big way to recognize contributions is to have high expectations. Your students should have high expectations of, well, themselves, of you, of your class structure, and of their peers. If the standards are set at a high level, it makes attaining those high level standards a lot easier. If you don't set those clear expectations and you don't establish those clear expectations, the students never really know what to do. Um, so that's part of being a great teacher is expecting the best out of your student, holding them accountable. I think that that's something that's kind of missing a lot in education nowadays is the ability to hold students accountable for their actions and the ability to hold students accountable for, well, their own learning. And then part of that too is you have to personally recognize them. um, so when a student succeeds, you need to make sure that you are reaching that student in a way and celebrating that student or that person in a way that speaks to them, because we all take praise in different ways. Some people might like being told, "Hey, great job. You did fantastic. I'm so proud of you." Where another kid might just like a simple sticker on their paper, or might just like you coming over to them on the side and just being like, "Hey, I think what you did was really awesome. I think you should try to do more of that." It's all about trying to connect with that person or that individual. And then to build upon that, you have to celebrate the values and the victories of other people. You have to create a spirit of community. You, as teacher leaders or as a great leader, you need people to buy in. It starts with getting your students to buy into your classes and getting your students to be invested in your classes. And then that acts as a domino effect going through the rest of the school. If students are bought into your class and students are excited to take your class every day, other teachers are going to become curious about your class structure. Why is their class so fun? Why does everybody want to take their class? And then all of a sudden, you find yourself gaining influence in your school environment, in your school community. And it's pretty cool how things kind of line up like that. How being a great teacher leader and building a great community through your students and building a great school community goes hand in hand. And to build that great community, you have to invest yourself into that school community. And part of that is, well, it goes all the way back to clarifying your values. What's important to you? You're not going to put your best effort into something if it's not important to you. If the values of it don't align with your values, you are not going to put in the effort that is needed to really build a community or be a great leader. So it's kind of funny how like these practices, almost all of them speak to one another in some way or another. And that's the most exciting part about this book to me. So my personal growth goals, something that I am working on as an educator, is I want to step into an administrative role. I want to change curriculum. I want to make a larger impact than just my local school. Um, I believe that education on a fundamental level might need to change. I think that we need to modernize our approach to education and really reach our students on more, know, deeper levels. I think we're really limiting ourselves in our approaches to how we're limiting ourselves in our approaches to education by not seeing the bigger picture, by not be forward thinking, for by not inspiring that shared vision, right? So to me, being a great teacher leader is about, well, just being a good teacher, um, right? Being forward thinking, focusing on personal growth, focusing on individual growth, focusing on how you can be the best version of yourself. And I guess that's kind of leads me to my final quote. Um, I have always this is something that has always resonated with me at a level. Human beings are works in progress that mistakenly think they're finished. The only constant in life is change. Isn't that awesome? So I kind of want to leave you guys with that and remind you, don't be stagnant. Always be growing, always be changing, always be trying to become a better version of yourself. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. My references are right here. You can go ahead and read more about my references. There are two great books. I want to thank you for our time together and hope that you liked it. All right. Have a good one, everybody. Bye bye.